volumes. What the volumes? Root and additional volumes, correct? Root and additional. So, so what is that root volume contains? How many root volumes you can have per instance? Okay, good. And then what is the maximum size of the volume? 16 terabyte. If I stop and start the EC2 instance, my data is lost? No. So we have learned on that area, correct? Now, mainly the volumes are classified into two types. I'm not talking about root and additional, but mainly on top, the volumes are classified into two types. Mainly the volumes are classified into two types. Number one, that we already knew, we learned, which is called EBS volumes. It is called EBS volumes. And the other one, we call it as instant store volume. Write down instant store volume. EBS volumes and then instant store volumes, guys. What is that? EBS volumes and instant store volumes. So on EBS volumes, so these EBS volumes are like these are persistent storage or permanent storage, correct, guys? This is persistent storage or permanent storage. What is the meaning of persistent or permanent? So the meaning of this is, if you stop and start the EC2 instance, data is lost or not lost? If you stop and start the EC2 instance, data will not be lost. Because all the data is stored in the EBS volumes. So these EBS volumes are persistence volumes, right? And EBS volume maximum size is, we know that it is 16 terabyte. So this EBS is chargeable. That means you need to pay for how much that you have used. Okay. Persistence meaning permanent. Persistence meaning permanent. That meaning persistence meaning if you stop and start the EC2 instance also, data is not lost, right? That is called persistence. Permanent. So coming to instant store volumes. Guys, coming to instant store volumes. Okay, before I go here, let me go a little bit deeper on the EBS volumes. So guys, till now it's clear, no? We know all these things already, right? So now let's talk about types of EBS volumes. There are different types of EBS volumes, guys. There are different types of EBS volumes. So let's learn those types of volumes. Number one, we call it as, write down, general purpose, right? And this is in API, we call it as GP2, GP3. What is the type of volumes we have? General purpose volumes. And these are SSD. So this is used for general purpose. The size of this would be minimum 1 GB and maximum 6 terabyte you can use. So guys, this is general purpose volumes. So we have in EBS, the different types of volumes are there, no? Right? One of the volume type is general purpose. So in general purpose, we have two things. What are those? Write down. GP2, GP3. GP stands for general purpose. There are two types. What are those? GP2, GP3. So guys, there. So do you remember we have something called HDD and SSD? Which one is faster? SSD is faster, no? So this general purpose is SSD storage. General purpose is SSD storage. So this will be used for all kind of general activities. So that meaning if you want to go ahead and launch the EC2 instance, definitely you need to select the volume, no? That is root volume, that can be additional volume, correct? So the root volume can be GP2, the additional volumes can be GP2, right? Or GP3, like general purpose. So when this will be chosen, this will be chosen for all requirement, for all basic requirement, you can go with this general purpose. For all regular requirements, you can go for general purpose. Now you have another one which is called provisioned IOPS, right? Don't you think? Provisioned IOPS. So we have IO1, IO2. Provisioned IOPS. Provisioned IOPS is basically if you need to have a high performance. If you need to have a high performance, then go for provision. So the minimum size that you should contain is 4 GB and maximum is 16 terabyte. Guys, provisioned IOPS, which is used for high performance, and obviously it is little bit costlier. Provisioned IOPS. Provision IOPS. Right? So provisioned IOPS. Understood, guys? If you need to have a high performance, let's say, for example, guys, everyone should understood this is we are talking about the volume, okay, where your data will sit, correct? Your drive, C drive, D drive. So those are all EBS volume. These are different types of EBS volumes. Let's say, for example, you have a database. For example, you are installing some database on the EC2 instance. For database related things, and if you need to have a high performance, good performance, which EBS volume will you suggest? Provision IOPS. You can go with the IO1 or IO2. Okay, understood? And now you have something called throughput. Throughput, which is shortcut is ST1. This is HDD. Throughput is HDD. HDD meaning you know very well now the compared to SSD, right? Compared to SSD, this HDD is little bit performance is little bit slower, right? So when do you use this throughput, guys? If you want to use it frequently access data, and if you are using frequently the data with cheaper price, then go for it. So you might be having a requirement like, sir, I will be using EC2 instance volume daily, regularly, frequently. I'm using it, but I don't want to spend more money, right? Then go for this throughput. So which the minimum size it says 500 GB and maximum size would be 16 terabyte. And then we have something called cold. Cold in shortcut, we call it as SC1. Right? And this is also HDD. This one, if you don't want to access it frequently, this is for not frequently access data with cheaper price. Again, here 500 GB minimums and then 16 terabyte maximum. So you might be having a requirement that you want to use the EC2 instance, but you are not using the data on the volume regularly, but you want it to have in cheaper price. Then go for cold. And finally, the last one, we have something called magnetic. Magnetic. So magnetic, in shortcut, we call it as standard. This is also HDD only storage. This one is previous generation. So slowly previous generation, which is 1 GB is enough minimum, and the maximum is only 1 terabyte. So guys, everyone understood the different types of EBS volume. The magnetic one, we call it a standard, and which is not that much used. It's very, very low performance you have. And it is a previous generation volume type. So which one do you always suggest here to go? Which type of volume that you suggest? I would suggest at least GP2 general. Okay. So based on the requirement, you just need to go ahead and choose which type of volume that you need. You need to go ahead and select it. But remember, whenever you're going and creating a volume, which is the default that it has? GP2, right? Now, certification question. GP2 is the default EBS volume type. Which one is the default EBS volume type, guys? GP2. So what is the full form of IOPS? Input, output per second. So if you need to have a high performance, which one do you suggest? Yes, provisioned IO1. Super good. So why it is for high performance, guys? Because provisioned IOPS, that meaning you need to provision how many IOPS that you need for that. You need 1000, 2000, 3000. How many input output per second that you need? How many? 2000, 4000, 5000. So you need to put the number. Based on the number that you put it, those many input and output operations will happen per second. So how much big number that you put, that much high performance you will get it. Agree? Agree, guys? So that's the reason if you keep on increasing the number of IOPS, it will be costlier for you. So for this certification question, guys, which volume type you can give the IOPS number? You can give IOPS number for IO1, IO2, and GP3 also. Guys, for these three things are IOPS configurable. These three tier for IOPS configurable. You can input IOPS values. Certification question, guys. Which volume types are IOPS configurable? Yes, IO1, IO2, and GP3 are IOPS configurable. Then you might ask, so what happened? Okay, what happened for GP2? I'll come. So remember here, more IOPS, you will get more bill, which is costlier. Coming to GP2, right? Coming to GP2, GP2 is not IOPS configurable, correct? But GP2 has default IOPS. GP2 has default IOPS, right? How much? Remember, guys, it is 1:3 ratio. How much is that? 1:3 ratio. That meaning if you give the volume size as 1 GB, automatically you will get 3 IOPS, right? Automatically you get, right? This is not IOPS, not configurable. So GP2 has automatically a default IOPS. GP2 has default IOPS. What is it? What is the ratio that you will get it? 1:3. That meaning if you give 100 GB of let's say for example, you are creating an additional volume with 100 GB with GP2. How much IOPS that you get automatically? Yes, 300 IOPS you will get it. Make sense? Getting it, Chiti? Slowly, aram se. Smooth as butter. So root volume support these volume types. So whenever you're creating but guys, whenever you're launching an EC2 instance, What is the default volume that you get already? Root volume only. For that root volume, what is the general default volume type that you get it? GP2. But you can change it. So which volume types it support the root volume? It's a GP2, it supports root volume supports GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, and standard. Guys, these are the only volume types which are supported for the root volume. Write down what are the volume types that root volume supports. Write down GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, and standard. Or you can say except ST1 and SC1. Except ST1 and SC1, it supports all. Okay. I'll also write that for you. Root volume doesn't support ST1 and SC1. Next one, coming to additional volumes. Additional volumes supports all types. What is it today? Additional volume supports all types. Today, everyone understood about the different types of EBS volume what we have? Any questions still here? All good. Everyone, ma? Now, Nadi? Good. Super. Nice. So, GP2 and GP3. What is the difference between GP2 and GP3? GP2 is not IOPS configurable, but GP3 is IOPS configurable. Ajit, Krishna, you lost your basics. So Krishna is asking additional volumes, meaning volumes added to root. Volume added to root. The framing itself is wrong, right? So volume added to root, no. Additional volume meaning your D drive apart from your C drive. Okay. So coming to instance store volume. Krishna, do you understand? Additional volume meaning okay, you got it, no? Okay, good. Fine. Yes, Anwar, that's correct. Should I move to the instance store volumes now? Babu, guys, I already wrote Nama. Why you're asking these questions? I can answer it. Suresh is asking what's the difference between ST1 and SC1. Did I show? Do you see this? I clearly wrote it. No. If you are not listening, what should I do? Huh? Everyone, what clarity cheating? Guys, everyone understood the difference between ST1 and SC1? Let me see. What more clarity you needed there? Okay, I'll explain it for you again. Frequently access data with cheaper price, not frequently access data with cheaper price. So this meaning you have launched an EC2 instance, right? And then you want to have a volume for it. And then you will be using this EC2 instance regularly every day, frequently you're using it. And you don't want to spend more money, right? For your volume. And you want it in cheaper price. Which one do you suggest? ST1 you suggest. And you have the EC2 instance and you have the volume and you don't want to, you are not accessing it frequently, but you don't want to pay more money. You want it for cheaper price. Then go for SC1. That's the reason why I clearly wrote it. No one will write like that. I'm writing it still. So you need to concentrate. That's it. Okay. So instance store volumes, guys. Instance store volume. Instance store volume here is, guys, EBS is persistent storage, but this instance store volumes are not persistent storage. What is the meaning of not persistent storage? We call it as temporary volumes. We call it as temporary volumes. What is the meaning of temporary volumes? If you stop and start the EC2 instance, data is, yes, lost, gone, goodbye, deleted. It's gone, right? And then instance store, you know what? Instance store volumes are free. Instance store volumes are free. And I'll tell you. And this is also known as, in another words, we call it as ephemeral storage. Right on? What is another name of instance store volume? Ephemeral storage. Ephemeral storage. These are all in certification questions and interview questions, guys. Ephemeral storage. Okay. Question for you now. Okay. So everyone clear, right? Instance store volumes, these are all temporary volumes. So that meaning if you have the instance store volumes attached to your EC2 instance, and if you put the data inside that volume, and if you stop and start the EC2 instance, data will be there? No, data is lost. Okay. So now the question for you here is, if you terminate the EC2 instance, guys, listen this carefully. If you terminate the EC2 instance, by default, root volume will be deleted or not deleted. So everyone are saying not deleted, right? So let me give you the logic behind it. Then you will only answer it. Let's say, for example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say 10 EC2 instances. Today, see here. And for 10 EC2 instances, I'll have how many root volumes? 10 root volumes. Okay. So now I have terminated my EC2 instances. If I terminate my EC2 instances, I'm asking you, the root volume will also get terminated? Answer is yes. Previously, you said no. If you said no, the reason behind it, if I terminate all the EC2 instances, your all 10 root volumes will be lying there like an orphan, and which is each volume size would be 30 GB, 10 into 30, 300 GB unnecessarily money that you are paying to AWS. So do you all agree now? If you terminate the EC2 instance, the root volume should be deleted. That is the default behavior. How about the additional volumes? I have additional volumes to it. If I terminate the EC2 instance, additional volumes will be deleted automatically? Answer is no. Because in additional volumes, that meaning most of the additional volumes has the data inside it. So that additional volumes data, the additional volumes will not be deleted by default. Do you all understood? I'll write down for you. Okay. If you terminate the EC2 instance, by default, root volume will also be deleted. Guys, why? Because, guys, there is a checkbox. What is that, Chitty? There is a checkbox. Because there is an option called delete on termination. There is a checkbox called delete on termination that is checked by default or enabled by default. That's the reason why if you terminate the EC2 instance, by default, root volume will also be deleted. because this option delete on termination is checked. Okay, now let's say, for example, you don't want the root volume to be deleted automatically. Can't you uncheck? Yes. So if you uncheck that, what will happen? If you terminate the EC2 instance, the root volumes will be retained. Got that? If you want the root volume to be retained, right? Uncheck delete on termination while launching the EC2 instance. Okay, so it is all up to us, no? Based on the requirement, you can go ahead and do that. And another question, if you terminate the EC2 instance by default, how about additional volume? Additional volume will not be deleted because why? Because delete on termination is unchecked. That meaning disable. Is it clear, everyone? Mm? So these are checkboxes, guys. These are checkboxes, right? These are checkboxes. That meaning you can check it whenever you want while launching, and you don't check. It's up to you. Yes. If you want the additional volume to be deleted automatically, what you need to do while launching the EC2 instance, delete on termination, you check it. By default, it is unchecked. Yes. Correct, Deva. Patil. Okay. So I write here, these are checkboxes. Okay. Can be customized depend on the requirement. Okay. So while launching the EC2 instance, you will have an option like this. So there will be checkbox. It says delete on termination. You want or not, right? So for the root, this is for the root, and this is for additional value. So for the root, what will happen? This will be checked. For the additional, it will not be checked. But if you want to uncheck it, check it, up to you. It's up to you. Right? So I'm saying about the root volume clearly here. It is not about instance store volume. Sir, in any case, if you forgot to uncheck before launching, can we go and check it later on launching also? No. So guys, by default, it is a default behavior. See, can you tell me your root volumes, do you need to retain your root volumes in general? 99% people don't retain the root volumes. That is the reason why by default your root volumes will be deleted. So if you terminate the EC2 instance, additional volumes will not be deleted by default because there is no use case. But just in case if there is a requirement like this, when you are launching the EC2 instance, uncheck whenever you require. Okay. So let's see, maybe in coming days, you will get to know more like how to manipulate all these things because we have coming topics coming in. But is it clear till here, everyone, on these topics at least? it is Anwar, it is not about the good practice. It is purely depend upon. Guys, can we say what is the good practice or best practice like like, no, we cannot say that clearly because it's purely depend upon the requirement. But the default values are this. Root volume, it's deleted. Addition volume, repeat. Okay. Now here, instance store volumes here, guys, now the maximum size of the EBS volumes is 16 terabyte, which you need to pay. But instance store volumes are free. Now you might have a question, sir, how much is the size of the instance store volume? So guys, there is no way that we can go and create the instance store volumes. No. So AWS will give us as free when you go and will he give instance store volumes for your T2 micro? No. No. So he will be giving for not even 30 GB. No, no. Okay. So you have a bigger instance type, like, bigger. We will show you, I'll show you in the practicals. So for that bigger instance type, right, they'll give based on the instance type, you say based on the instance type you select mostly big instance type. Big instance type, you will get the instance store volume automatically attached by AWS for free. So when you go for bigger instance type, you will get you will get like okay, 1000 GB instance store volumes, like into 4 you'll get it like this. So sometimes it is 1000, sometimes it is 900, sometimes it's 1500. It's based on the instance type that you have selected. They have their default. This kind of instance store volumes will come as attached for your EC2 instance. You don't get tempted saying that okay, I have D drive as 1000 GB, E drive has 1000 GB, F drive has 1000 GB. I'll put all my data there. But if you push stop and start the EC2 instance, the data will be there inside it. No, data will be lost. So when do you use this kind of instance store volumes in what use cases? So guys, use cases meaning for temporary storage, for temporary processing, for your caching, for your memory caching, for all related to the temporary. If you know that, now you know that if you stop and start, data is lost. You should keep that in mind and put whatever you want to put it. If it is okay, if it stop and start data is lost, that's fine, and then put it. So don't put important data over there thinking that to store as persistent. No, that is wrong. You can use it for your all kind of temporary related things. Chitty, is this clear till here, everyone? Any questions? No. All good? Okay, there is an important thing here, guys. Now tell me, if I reboot the EC2 instance, which has EBS volume, data is lost? Data. Okay. No data lost. Very. And if I reboot here, instance store volume, data is lost? Yes or no? Data is not lost. What is this? This is little bit of see, this is a little bit of weird thing, right? So if I stop and start, data is lost. But if I reboot, data is not lost. So do you want to know the reason behind it? Actually, no one will tell you all these reasons, right? Do you want to know the logic behind it? Okay. So if you want to know the logic behind it, we need to see what is happening in the backend in AWS data center. Okay. So guys, these are all the advanced topics, additional topics, which I'm giving it for you. Okay. So guys, on the backend of AWS, we have host missions, correct? Yes or no? We have the host missions, which is handled by AWS, correct? Okay, good. So on this host machine, you will have a operating system, I mean hardware, operating system, blah, 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 you have it, right? I'm not going right all these things. Okay. So now, so let's see the difference between EBS volumes and then instance store volumes. Okay, guys. Now I went and launched the EC2 instance here. It will get launched now. EC2 instance. Guys, listen this carefully. Hard to repeat. Listen this carefully now itself. So I went and launched the EC2 instance. Guys, when I launch the EC2 instance, there will be a volume attached to it, no? Yes or no? Where is this volume coming from? From the centralized storage called EBS, correct? Yes or no? So we'll create this and this volume will get attached over here. So I used to use the word called attached, right? Attached, detached. So this will be attached here from the centralized location. Yes or no? Is that clear on that point? It is a centralized storage. You create it and you attach it here. It's a link. Okay, good. Good. That's fine. So what is happening in the backend is in AWS, guys, whenever you stop and start the EC2 instance, what will happen, you know? If you stop and start the EC2 instance, the EC2 instance will jump from one host to another host. That is the common behavior of EC2 instance. It will jump from one host to another host. That is how AWS is handling it. So guys, here, remember that is a formula. Whenever you stop and start, what will happen? Jump or no jump? Jump. Okay. Whenever you stop and start, jump will happen. Whenever the jump happen, guys, is there any the data is lost for my volume here? No, because it is centrally located into the EBS, only the pointer is changed from this place to this place, correct? In this case, the data is lost. That's what you said here. Data is not lost. Agree? Because it is data, the volume is central storage. So the data is located centrally here. The data is not lost. Okay. So whenever another formula here, whenever you reboot it, no jump happens. It will sit on the same host. So in this, whenever I reboot EC2 instance, which has EBS volume, it will sit on the same machine. Data is lost. Data is not lost. Guys, if I terminate it, obviously data is lost, because terminate meaning you're killing it purposefully, data is lost. Is this clear on the EBS section? Everyone understood? Whenever you stop and start, jump will happen. Reboot, no jump will happen. These two are the formulas. In both the conditions, data is not lost. Correct. So now let's come into instance store volume. When I launch an EC2 instance, I launch one EC2 instance here. I launched the EC2 instance here. Okay. And then what I do, guys, do you all agree that for every EC2, every host machine, there will be its own hard disk, correct? There will be it has its own hard disk, correct? Every server will have its own hard disk. Okay. So whenever I launch the EC2 instance, what will happen? If you're going for instant store volumes, what will happen is a part of the hard disk will be attached from the local machine, right? So let's say AWS is giving you some 1000 GB, no? From this host machine, 1000 GB will be given from your local hard disk to your EC2 instance. Okay, not centralized. So now let's take our concept. So now you have stop and start the EC2 instance. Stop and start meaning jump or no jump? Jump or no jump? Jump. So this will jump from here to here. So whenever it jumps from here to here, so this is the EC2. Okay. Whenever it jump to here, can you tell me this hard disk will jump from here to here? Local hard disk, physical hard disk? No. So this will have its own physical hard disk, correct? This host machine will have its own hard disk, right? Whenever the jump happen, right, the data will be here only. Your EC2 instance will jump from here to here, but physically you will get again freshly from here. So that meaning all your data will be here, right? And then whenever jump happen, you will get the fresh disk from here. That means your data is transferred? No. So in this case, when jump happened, what did we learn here? When jump happened, data is lost. Now, whenever reboot happens, what is the reboot concept? Jump or no jump? No jump. Whenever no jump happens, whenever you reboot, it will sit on the same host machine. So that meaning data is lost? Data is not lost. This is what I was telling. So that is the logic behind it. So most of the people doesn't know this concept. But if you understand the logic behind it, now you'll understand, right? You understood, everyone? Okay. Understood, guys? Everyone? So that's the reason why I said here, reboot data is not lost. So I'll talk more about, see, there are many topics coming in slow one by one, but I'm just, building up based on, so I don't jump from here. So everything, whatever we discuss is related. So I don't jump from one topic to other topic, which is completely not related. So I'll be choosing the topics to explain you, which are related. Okay. So like this, there is something where I'll be talking more about it. So whenever you launch the EC2 instance, there will be 2 checks will be there. What checks? How many checks will be there? 2 checks will be there. How many checks will be there? 2 checks. 2 checks will be there. So there is a question, sir, why EC2 has to jump in case of stop? Why it is not in the same as? That is what I said, Madhavi, that is AWS behavior. There is no, so let me give an example. You will understand now. That's what I know. These kind of questions will come. That's the reason why I'm taking this topic. Just be patient for 2 minutes, you will understand. So 2 checks will happen. One checks, whenever you launch an EC2 instance, the first check will happen, which is related to uh, software check. Okay, first is hardware check. Second check is software check. Okay. So now, guys, whenever you launch an EC2 instance, is a virtual machine will be created, right? So that virtual machine is created properly or not will be checked with this first one, hardware check. Okay, hardware check went fine. That's good. So next, software check will also happen. That meaning the IP address has been assigned properly or not, operating system. I mean, all the software checks will be happening there. That is also perfect. So whenever when you launch an EC2 instance, these 2/2 checks should be passed, correct? If any of the check is failed, will you able to log into the EC2 instance? Answer me no. No. If any of the checks are failed, you cannot log into the EC2 instance. There might be a chances that there will be a might chances that 1/2 will be there, right? Check failed. There might be chances that 0/2 checks fail. There will be one check sometimes will be passed, right? And then sometimes all both checks will be failed. When any of the check fail, you cannot log into the EC2 instance. Cannot log into EC2. What should we do in that case? I launch an EC2 instance today and checks fail, I could not able to log in. What you do? So your thing is, what you guys are saying is, in this case, you terminate the EC2 instance and then launch a new EC2 instance. This is what you are telling, correct? So for one's first solution is, in this solution is terminate EC2 and launch new instance, correct? This is what you are saying, correct, guys? That is one solution. So why unnecessarily, what if you have a data inside it? You cannot do that, right? So another solution here is simply, guys, you should use our technique, which is stop and start. If you stop and start, guys, first of all, why the checks are getting failed? So you launch an EC2 instance, maybe on this host machine, the EC2 instance didn't launch properly. The host machine, there might be a problem with the host machine, the bottom one. That's the reason why EC2 instance didn't launch properly. Maybe due to network issue, maybe due to some storage issue, maybe due to some hardware issue. If you stop and start, what will happen? Jump or no jump? It will jump to another host machine. Whenever it jumps to another host machine, there might be a high chances that your 2/2 checks will be passed and your EC2 instance is up. Guys, these are all the loopholes that, the experienced people found out, like me. So you don't need to kill it. You just stop and start it. Simple. And also, guys, let's say, for example, I show you the Ghanta symbol in the console, right? That notification symbol. AWS will be sending you, let's say you have the EC2 instance here on this host machine. So AWS will be sending you that, hey, let's say, for example, AWS has the maintenance on this host machine. If he has a maintenance on this host machine, your EC2 instance will be affected? Yes or no? It will be affected. So AWS will be sending you a notification saying that, Are Babu, so there is you have an EC2 instance which is under maintenance mode. Please stop and start, or your EC2 instance will be stopped at this particular time because they need to do some maintenance activity. Let's say that is on January 1st. Do you wait for January 1st? No. An experienced guy, what he'll do, he simply, based on your time, you just stop and start. It will jump from one host to another host, and this host doesn't have maintenance. You have skipped that maintenance mode. Guys, these are all things happening in the back end where you can skip all kind of maintenance activities. Your product, your operations will not get any issues. Understood now? Madhavi, you understood, ma? And all guys? Yes. Understood, guys, everyone, on this concept of 2/2 checks passed, right? So those two status checks are called instance status check and system status check. These are the two checks that will happen. Instance status check and system status check. Okay. What, Babu? Quick recap is not possible. Okay, let me ask other. Is it possible to have quick recap, guys? These are all the huge topics, guys. I just want to questions. I can answer it. Please understand. We are not in LKG, okay? Questions I can answer it, guys. If you're asking me the whole entire class to recap again all these topics, it's very hard for me. Please understand. I can do that, but other people will go think bad. Can you tell me, Abhilash, where did you missed it? Which topic you missed? I mean, which topic did not understood? Ask me the question, I'll understand, but not the whole thing. Yeah, come on. Guys, any questions? Jump concept, Okay, guys, everyone, see here again, once again. So that's what I said. When I'm saying this, please concentrate. If you concentrate, you know need to ask these questions again. Please see here. So quickly, I'm saying it. So we have the two host machines, which is handled by AWS in the backend. Question here is, do we need to really worried about this entire concept, first of all? No, because that is completely managed by AWS in the backend. But if you want to know the concept, then we went inside and then learned. So imagine that you have two host machines. We have launched one EC2 instance here. When you launch an EC2 instance, definitely a volume should be there for this, Abhilash? Yes. So from where do you getting that volume? From the EBS, correct? We have learned, right? That is the EBS volume. EBS is a centralized storage. So, so there is a formula from the AWS, how they are handling it here is in the AWS part. Whenever you stop and start the EC2 instance, it has an habit of jumping from one host to another host. Whenever it is jumping from one host to another host, this volume is just a pointer, no, which is all your data is stored centrally here. So the pointer will be changed to here. In this case, whenever jump happened, and if you have the EBS volume, the data is lost, Abhilash? Data is not lost because all your data is centrally stored over here. That is what I said here. And the second thing is, whenever you launch the EC2 instance, every host machine will have a physical hard disk attached. Yes, correct. Whenever you launch the EC2 instance, right, and you have if you selected instant store volume, instead of selecting EBS, if you are selecting instant store volume, what will happen? Physically, some size will be attached to your EC2 instance from here, from the hard disk, local hard disk. Right? All your data is saved locally here on this EC2 instance. So our concept is what? Whenever stop and start will happen, what will happen? Jump will happen. Whenever the jump will happen, all the data is stored locally here. The jump will happen here. The data jump will happen. The data transfer will not happen. So as the EC2 instance is moved here, your fresh data will be attached from here to here. So that means your existing data will not be transferred. That means data is lost. That is what I said. So whenever you reboot, what will happen? No jump. That is sitting on the same machine. If it is sitting on the same machine, you still, if you reboot, you still get the data because that is not jumping. Understood now? That is right. That is why we call data is not lost. Good. Any other questions? Okay, there is question. Sir, one small query. Guys, listen this and then let's see whether you are able to answer it, okay? During stop and start, how AWS will decide which host it will choose to do jump the EC2 and start there? And what will be the case if the other hosts are not available? First of all, do we need to really worry about that question that how does backend no need to worry? That's what I am saying. Backend no need to worry. Okay, everyone answered it. That meaning you have answered one interview question. Very good. Next question. During stop and start, will jump in always happen or is there any probability of staying on the same host? Again, do we need to worry on that? No. So do not worry, Chitti, do not worry. Simply from your point of view, 2/2 checks are passed are happening or not, you check it. That's it. So why I have teached you all this topic? Because if I can just say that reboot data is not lost, just remember that and then close it. I just little bit step ahead and then answered it. Why the data is not lost? Because they're handling the backend like this. Okay. Okay. Just when we are into that situation, we can stop and start first. That's it. Simple. But you should, as an AWS engineer, you should know, okay, when the stop and start will, so let's say, for example, you have a teammate, yeah, and they are the let's say for a database server, that's a database instance. And then the database instance, somehow 1/2 is getting check passed and your junior is getting scared and he's getting sweating. Oh my God, I'm not able to log into the EC2 instance. As a senior, what you should do as you know, as you are a Riaz sir student, oh, 1/2, oh, is it EBS volume? Oh, stop and start. Fadak, and then he will be able to log in. Simple. Khatam. Done. How do you know this knowledge? How do you get this? Simple. That's how in real time you should use it. Hmm? If the server is slow, what is the best way to reboot or start and stop? That is too very broad question, Raju. If the server is slow, there might be a number of reasons. You cannot chumma stop and start. And stop and start always require downtime. So you cannot keep having a downtime on a production environment. So you should understand why the server is slow. In case of terminate instance or volume, data will last, obviously. Sir, instance or volume data is stored in physically? Yes. Thank you, Avinash. Yeah. Good. Oh, still questions, huh? Good. So, sir, is it same behavior for both root and additional volume? The data is not lost in case reboot of instance or you're mixing both. That's why I clearly put two different things. If you have EBS volume, this is the scenario. If you have an instance store volume, this is the scenario. EBS volume, this would be for the root and additional, both. Okay, Nilesh. Jump happens within subnet. Are Babu, why you are worried about how Shivashankar, AWS has in the backend? The question is like this: in Hyderabad, we have data centers. No, you are asking, sir, jump happen from one subnet to another. Which subnet? Are how do we know what kind of subnet that AWS has in the backend? No need to worry. Subnets we will create here on our purpose. That is still there is a lot of time is there. We'll talk about subnets later. Okay. Now, how should I write? Okay, I cannot write. So all this happening in the backend, guys. So guys, remember how the jump is happening, to which host machine it is happening, which subnet is happening, why it is happening, how they are handling it, what is all these things. No need. They will take care of it. Logic. This is the logic that we should remember. And this will not come anywhere in the real-time scenario. This is the logic that we should remember as a AWS engineer. Yes. Rightly said, Ali. Right. So you're asking like, sir, biryani they are putting in the on they're preparing on the gas stove, or they're preparing on what is that nowadays? This guy is preparing no RPA. So how why not required at all? Yeah. Hmm. Good. Ah, correct. Yeah. I love this batch somehow. You guys are very, what do you call, very sportive and right, interactive, right? Very good. Guys, sometimes please don't mind. Sometimes I'll be little bit, harder because I don't want you to go miss track. So that's the reason why I little bit 1% aggressive I'll be, right? It's just like you are my guys for this next few days, few weeks. You are mine, so I have full rights on you on the subject. So that's the reason why I'll be little bit aggressive sometimes. So please don't mind. Yeah, I don't want you guys to mislead or. Uh, there's a big question went up. Sir, I have a Jenkins job which is not finding the cluster because of some insufficient volume. It's getting failed. What is the best way to handle this scalability or handle it? This one? I have Jenkins job which is not finding the cluster because of insufficient volume. Insufficient volume meaning you need to increase the volume size. Raju, scalability only on the storage level. Good. Now take the screenshots. Already a few sugar patients left. Let me know once done. Okay.